To talk to our next guest here. We are live at Rep Express. Again, you still have time to come by, drop off a donation, and have the free buffet breakfast this morning with us. Going to talk politics a little bit now. The filing for North Carolina House of Representatives and all the other seats that are up this year ended on Wednesday. There's one Republican that's been filed in the newly redistricted District 8 for North Carolina House of Representatives in the General Assembly. This is the seat currently held by Edith Warren. It was generally a Pitt County, Martin County seat. Now the redistricting, District 8, a Pitt County, Wilson County district. And we've got the Republican who has filed a run in that district with us right now, Susan Martin. How are you, Susan?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. This is a great opportunity to talk to some of my new constituents.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. Talk about now. You're from Wilson County. This is it's about 40% Pitt County, 60% Wilson County, from what I understand. Talk about why you decided you're going to run.
Well, it's something I've not done before. I'm a politician, and I'm not interested to become a politician. I'm a concerned citizen. It's very scary the direction the country's been going in the state, and we need to get this economy moving again and get some jobs. So I'm really stepping up, and I hope more people will be getting involved who've maybe been in the background and just realizing that if we don't step up, then we're going to fall off the cliff and we need to make a change.
Talk about your background, Susan.
Absolutely. My background is in business. I worked for IBM for 12 years, and I have my MBA. And in that environment, I was able to work with different companies and look at their problems, their situations, try to make them more competitive. So look for where we could pull cost out, improve their sales, change the technology, and then go back into IBM, the complicated company that offered hardware, software, consulting, really anything through a business partner, and craft solutions that will help that company and then implement it. So in my role, we made changes. We did things, we got paid, made a difference. And so it was a complicated environment, and I think that will help me in government to look at all the areas where we're spending too much money, where we have too much regulation, where there's opportunity to pull cost out. And it is a complex environment, so you will have to work through. It's not an easy roadmap, and I realize that. But that was good experience for me to bring to government, to bring to Raleigh and say, we're going to make some changes and do it differently. And I have my MBA. During that time when I was working through that, I did get my master's of business. In 2 years I've been working in the community, working in the school system with my children who are in public schools in Wilson, and working in the church community.
How many children do you have?
I have 2 girls, and they are one in high school, one in middle school.
Awesome. You know, we were talking with John Hood from the John Locke Foundation yesterday, and one of the things that we were talking about is the fact that, you know, I don't know whether it's the way the wind is blowing politically in North Carolina or the redistricting, but all of a sudden we're seeing some fresh faces, yourself, Brian Brown here in Greenville coming out and run for the General Assembly. Is there a feeling now that things are more conducive for a Republican? I know the Democrats think that the redistricting turned it that way, but what gives you hope? Why did you decide to pull the trigger and make this decision to run for the General Assembly?
Well, that's a great question, and I think it's really more of a frustration of where we are and not being able to sit on the sidelines any longer. Right. I think the redistricting make it a very fair district. It's not a heavily leaning district one way or the other, but there's a great opportunity, and the people are frustrated and I want to see change, and I want to be part of that solution. I think we all need to be a part of that solution.
Talk about that. What is your agenda? What are the things that you want to work on if the people in the 8th District send you to Raleigh, to the legislature?
Well, I think the biggest issue we have is getting over this stagnant economy and jobs. And I've been talking to the folks this morning, and it's been resonating that those are the big things, jobs and a skilled workforce, education. We need that in order to attract folks. I've heard this morning about regulations that are burdensome. So those are the conversations I've had today, and it really boils down to improving the economy through changing the tax structure, reducing the debt, reducing the regulation, reducing the bureaucracy, and then some local control for education and the funding in the classroom, not in the administration.
One of your constituents here, Michael Buscemi, lives in Wilson County, our producer. Michael is very upset about the tolls on I-95, and I know that's Well, it could be a state issue, I guess, but the Congresswoman Renee Elmers came out yesterday opposed to the tolls on I-95. Now, I-95 runs right through Wilson, and people who have to get on I-95 and go locally places, it's going to cost them some money. What's your view on that? Have you a position on whether or not the tolls are a good idea? We keep hearing they got to come up with new ways to raise revenues, and nobody wants to raise taxes.
Well, that also came up this morning, and overall I am opposed.
Must have been talking to Michael. No,
it's good from other folks as well. I'm opposed to the toll, but I hesitate to make a firm position because I don't have all the information. My word is very important to me. I'm not a politician, so in principle I'm opposed to the toll roads, but I have to get some more information on the fund.
With your kids in public schools, I know you've probably been talking to Jennifer Little here, who's on our school board, who's one of our co-workers at the radio station. Talk about public schools a little bit. There's been a lot of talk from the Democratic side that the Republicans have cut the heart out of public schools, yet the numbers that we keep seeing show that it really hasn't been as bad as what everybody has said. But is that one of your things, is what to do with schools?
Absolutely. The public education is critical for our future. It's really the most important area where we need to invest. So I don't see us being able to cut in that area, but we do need to reform the system because I can see with my children in the schools that it's not working, and we can't just throw money at it and expect it to get better. We need to look at other ways of improving it. I think we need to be smart about the money. It needs to be going into the classrooms and not into bureaucracy. I think we need to get onto electronic textbooks. The textbook situation is horrendous, at least in Wilson, heard in Pitt and across the state.
Yeah, we hear that from teachers and from parents here in Pitt County too.
And our poor kids are lugging these huge books, if they even get to have one. Sometimes they don't even have enough to go home. So I think the money needs to go to the teachers. We really need raises for our teachers. They haven't had a raise in a number of years, and they make the most difference in the classroom. So it really comes down to teacher salaries, money in the classroom, not in bureaucracy, local control. But there still needs to be some accountability, and I've heard parents is that you can't just turn it all over locally and not have some kind of standards where you're ensuring that your kids are getting educated. But it ties back into jobs. I mean, we need the workforce to be skilled and ready for the future.
All right, Susan Martin, the Republican candidate in the race for the House District 8, which is now Pitt and Wilson counties. It's great to see you, and thank you for coming over this morning. I know you probably met a lot of folks over here in Pitt County, and you want to represent them, so I'm sure we'll be seeing more.
Absolutely. It's great to be over here and meet folks, and I'll be around a lot, so I'll look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Susan. Good to see you. By the way, did you eat breakfast?
Not yet. Here.
Okay, yeah. Go get you some. The buffet is open. Thank you.
So much.
Appreciate you coming by.